Damn, J Bird, merch that's you.
Welcome to the Black and Balance podcast. I am your host, Kirsten Simone. We like to think of this space as the happy medium between ratchet and righteous. And today is Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day, lovers. How come I can't see the guests? Oh, okay. Oh, no, it's okay. It's okay. I was just wondering what was going on. But this is our Valentine's Day episode. I'm so excited for this episode.
Hi, Joey.
I wanted to be intentional about getting millennial couples together, married couples in particular. That hence our title today, Millennial Marriage. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guest. We have in studio with us the Walkers.
Hey.
Brittany Walker is my sister, cousin, wife, friend, everything. This whole episode is actually to tell Doug that we are now having joint custody of Brittany, and I am joining their relationship as a throuple. So thank you for taking that so well. No, I'm kidding. And then we have Doug. That's it. I just want to go next door and eat and, do things. So, and then we have Doug, of course. He is a brother to me, and I'm so excited that you guys are here. And then virtually, we have the Williams, Rich and Kia Williams. So everybody, welcome everybody. Welcome. So to kick off today, I wanted to start with an icebreaker game. So it's going to be called Finish My Sentence. So you guys will be finishing my sentence, but you will be speaking to one another. So how the game will go is I will say a statement, and we'll go around the room, and you, each statement will be specific to one person. So Brittany, we'll start with you. The first, you'll finish my first sentence, and then it'll go on and so on and so forth. I
think I got it.
Right.
Is that clear? Are you up there in the class?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
so
okay.
You're
gonna see.
Yeah.
Example.
Right.
Start back. We're gonna leave our example. So the first statement is going to be, so what you're gonna do is when I say the statement, you'll finish my sentence, but it'll be a statement for Doug. Like a sentence for him. Got it?
Ooh, talk
Makes
to me,
sense?
baby.
Okay. So first statement is thank you for
Last night.
Hey.
why she take it there automatically? Just straight to. I told them yesterday, don't make no Scorpio on today. We don't need no more contributions from Scorpios in the world. Okay, thank you for last night. Do you wanna? How was your Valentine's Eve?
It was
Because you guys had a really special time going on. I ain't seen on the internet, so I want to know. Talk about it. Talk about it.
Real steamy.
Okay.
Like, emotional. Yes.
So, for those of you who do or don't follow Brittany and Doug, first of all, he's the romance man. Number one, hired a saxophonist to come into their home and play their wedding song and set the house up all beautiful and shit. This is why I'm joining their marriage. Because I need niggas to treat me like that. Okay? Okay, second statement is going to be for Doug. You have taught me...
You have taught me how to be a man.
Why are you trying to make me cry?
Hold on, I need a minute too. Please cue the Oz. Okay. Next statement is going to be for Kia. I appreciate your
honesty.
Okay. I likes that.
Nice.
I likes that. Okay. And then for Rich, you have grown me in ways that
just like patience, giving me an immense amount of learning patience.
Okay, that is definitely a key recipe. We're gonna do one more round of statements and then we'll break into our conversation. Sis, what is your gonna be? Damn, I had these thought out and now they gone. Okay, I appreciate you for. Don't say last night again, bitch.
No. I was reading the comment on the screen. I appreciate you for fertilizing my egg and helping me produce our love child.
Yes, Miss Bella Bells.
You're welcome.
You're welcome for the egg fertilization. You are very welcome for said fertilizer. Okay, so Doug, so yours is going to be, I love it when you
snort when you laugh.
That is so cute.
So that tells me she's having the utmost fun. Like she's enjoying everything around her. Like when she's that comfortable to snort while she's laughing, like something's going right. So
that's beautiful. Oh my gosh.
I snort a lot.
Is it cute when I do it too? Y'all
I'm trying not to do it right now.
No, bitch, snort away. Your man like you snoring, so snort. What? I be snorting in the morning in my sleep. What? They want me to snort? I'm gonna snort. Anyway, okay, Kia. So your statement is going to be, your love has
taught me how a woman is supposed to be treated.
I know that's right.
Nice.
Beautiful. Okay,
Cheers.
Rich, you got the last one. I never imagined that
we would actually be married in this position that we have grown to.
That's beautiful. That's deep.
Yeah,
That's deep. So that's a great segue actually into our first topic. I kind of wanted to get into, just to start out, how you grow to know that you want to marry someone, to know that you want to, do life with them. I think that's such a, that's probably like the highest paid compliment to you as a person, for someone to be like, yeah, I can see myself doing life with you. So let's start going around the room. How long have you guys been together? How long have you been married? And when did you know? Walkers.
How long has it been now? 10?
It'll be 10 years.
10 years. And let's disclose ages. So just so people can get an idea of how far you've grown together. Because y'all been together for a long ass time. It's been a lot.
We got together when I had just turned 19, like a month or two after we started dating.
Okay.
And I'm 29 now, and I'll be 30 in July.
So that is all of your adult life?
Yep.
Okay. Doug?
Oh, I had just turned 20.
Okay. So same. Yeah. And so y'all have been together for 10 years, married for how long?
2
years.
It'll be 2 in
April.
Yeah. Awesome. And how did you know? How did you know that this was the one?
We was just talking about this last night, actually. He told me right away before we even started like dating, before we had even been on our first date or anything. And I laughed at him because I was going to the club, honey, Sunday through Sunday. I was like, boy, okay, whatever. But he was serious, and he showed me he was serious.
So when did you know? Like, okay, he was right.
When did I knew he was right when I was willing to submit and like compromise willingly, because I had never done that before. Mm-hmm. When I started just being able to do that so easily, I was like, okay, it gotta be something here, because I won't just conform like that. I mean, the women in my family are not really like that.
Right. You come from strong women like I do. Mm-hmm. How old were you when you had that moment like, oh, okay?
I don't know how old I was. I don't think.
Or do you remember how long it had been into the relationship when you realized you trusted him enough to submit?
It had to be at least a year in.
A year in?
Yeah, probably not that first year, because we were both still wilding out a lot.
Yeah, the first year kind of just don't really count.
Yeah, nah. The first year for sure. It's probably that second year.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Williams, how long have you been together? How long have you been married? And when did you know?
So we've been together for 8 years. Well, this upcoming year will be our 9th year. We got married literally this past August.
Beautiful. So 1 year anniversary is coming up.
Yeah.
So it's literally like we picked our date around our day we got together. So August will be the 9th year, and it'll be our first year of marriage as well.
I love that. So how old were you two when you met?
I was turning 23.
And I was 21.
Yeah.
Okay, girl. Oh yes, you better rob the cradle, baby. You better have baby, she put a little stuff in the sandbox. Yes, I am so here for it. Okay, so when did you know? How far into your relationship were you like, all right, this is who I want to do life with?
So like what put the nail in the sense of coffin for me was we fell on like some super hard times, and she moved to we moved to my parents' crib. And like anybody willing to like buckle down and be like, I'm gonna ride with you to mom's crib, I'm with it.
Yeah. What about you, Kia?
I'm gonna have to say the same. Like you said, we did fall on some hard times, and you know, other couples may split or you know that might get in between them, but we stuck together and we made it work, and you know that's how we got here today.
How far into the relationship was that?
I want to say like that was like the third or the fourth year.
Okay.
We were in like a transition position because we found out she was pregnant. I think I was like switching jobs, so I had started making less money than what I was, so we couldn't afford where we was living at no more at that point. So like, my mom's always got my back no matter what. I told her the situation. She was like, hey, come home. She was like, bring her with you. She was like, you got two options. Either she come with you or you put her back the way you found her. If you can't put her back the way you found her, bring her with you. And that's
I know that's right. Your mama did that.
Right.
That's beautiful.
She coming on the next episode.
Right.
Because we need to talk about mothers and raising their sons. But we're not here for that today. Next question.
Right. That's nice.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And you know, I asked how old you were when you knew and when you found that, this is the person I want to do life with, because I think that a lot of times in our generation and in the culture that we're in right now, the social climate that we're in right now, we young and we kicking it and we having fun. You said you were 23 when y'all met. At 20, I didn't know who the hell, I was, let alone what it is I needed in a man. So I think that it's good to point out that that's not everybody's story. You can be young and still be able to make the solid decision like, you know what, I found something special here and I want to grow in that. And it's nothing to be afraid of, and it's nothing to shy away from. We see a lot of mockeries of marriage. I'm just going to be honest and put it out on the table. Yeah, a lot of people are making a mockery of marriage, and not just millennials, older, younger. It's a lot of people that don't value it the same way. So when you encounter somebody who values love the same way you do and values relationships the same way you do, it's important to like cultivate that and really try to grow with that person, because you don't know right. That it could be your lesson, it could be your blessing, but either way it go, it was a testament to you and your growth. So just to see that everybody here was so young when they met and had a whole lot of growing to do and learning of thyself, that's really refreshing to hear. So let me ask you this, and I'll start with the guys. As you were growing as a man and you had this woman with you and you were trying to figure out yourself and trying to become who you were going to become, and also still trying to, keep her happy in your life and keep things stable in your life, how did you grow through with a relationship? Because I think that, and I ask you this question because I often see not only in my dating life, but friends and on the internet, people that I know that I've talked, everybody want to get their shit together before they get married or get their shit together before they settle down. So what was that like for you, trying to get your shit together and still have this woman on your arm that you wanted to be better for or be better for yourself?
So for me, I had got a lot of my youngness, kicking it, growing out fast, because I started working in clubs when I was 19. So I got it in like early. And then as I started to get older, like I always told her, like once we first met, I'm like, I always got your back. Like if I tell you something, I'm going to follow through. Just trust me. It may not be the next day, it may not be a month from now, but if I tell you it, it's going to happen. And I've always kept my word with her. And that's me with anybody. Like, if I tell you something, I'm gonna make it happen at the end of the day. Like, you cannot like backpedal, bullshit, or lie to somebody, because that takes the trust aspect out of it. If she can't trust me, then I can't lead in a sense.
You said a what? Nigga, who is your karma.
Right.
Yes. Okay, brother.
All right. Well, for me, growing up, like, my parents got divorced early, so like having that as a child, seeing that the heartbreak in a family growing up in a broken home is kind of, this is not what I want when I grow up. So like, I got all of my early dating stages out like quick.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time I got to 18, 19, it's like, okay, I gotta start looking for a wife. Like,
wow.
I need that family structure in my life right now. And so when I met Brittany, it was like, okay, you know, like instantly I knew like she's the one. Like I had a feeling. So I'm like, okay, how do I put her in the best position? You know, like how do I put her in the best position to be my wife? And doing that, it's hard because first you got to get yourself together. And it took a long time for me to understand where I tried to go. Like I'm a really passionate person. So to put my all behind her and still not be where I wanted to be, it took a lot. It took a lot for me to understand that I gotta put myself together first.
Mm-hmm.
So like I put her through a lot, but like now I feel like I'm in the best position I can be to put her where I want her to be. So.
Ooh.
Right, he trying to make me
like, don't. I'll be so up
so
on
hard.
this motherfucker. Okay. Woo. That was beautiful. Okay. I ain't gonna do that. Not gonna do that today. Girl, right. Like, okay. So, coming from a divorced family, were you ever afraid that would also be your story? Or like, how do I make sure I don't go through what I just saw?
So, my dad taught me a lot by not teaching me much. So, I saw a lot in him that I didn't want to see in myself. So, like, when we met, I was a heavy drinker. Like, she used to go to the clubs, I used to party. Like, I was a fucking partier. Like, I used to go hard to a point where I didn't have a limit.
Mm-hmm.
So, to see my dad and myself in that aspect, I was like, I can't do this. This isn't what I want, because that's ultimately what caused my parents' divorce, is my dad's drinking. So, like, I can't be that person in my life. And now having a daughter, it's like I can't show her that childhood that I had.
Right.
So
awesome. Wow. You know, it's very deep that we don't even realize how the relationships that we witness, the relationships that we're a part of, whether that be directly, I'm with you and you with me, or whether that be as a listening ear, as a support system. These are all relationships that impact us and impact how we love and how we love ourselves. So just the fact that you said, you knew that you didn't want to be what you saw your dad become was a testament to your self-love, whether you even knew that at the time or not, because that's saying, you know what, in order for me to be able to give the kind of love that I know I want back, I got to be able to do that for myself in some way, shape, or form. And that is something that is so, so vital. I always tell people, family, friends, whoever calls me for advice, you cannot fill emptiness with emptiness. If your cup is empty and it got a hole in the bottom of that bitch, everything you put in it gonna fall out.
Right.
So until you learn how to, and it ain't like you have to be this ready-made model of yourself to love someone or to give love or to even receive love, but you do have to understand, like, it starts with me, it starts in here. And if we don't understand that, then everything else can really crumble, because we're not giving ourselves the best. We're not trying enough, for our own selves. So we put that responsibility of happiness, or we put that responsibility of making someone else happy, and we pour that into our relationships. Like, you know what, I might not be my best, but I'm finna make you happy as hell, because at the end of the day, that's the ego stroke. Whether we want to admit it or not, it's an ego stroke to be like, yes, my man, I made him happy. I did X, Y, and Z for him, and I'm his light. The sun don't rise till I open my eyes. But when we got to internalize that and say, what am I doing to make me happy? How can I make me happy? It's a little bit harder to focus on self. So my next question is for the ladies. What example of love did you have to go off of coming up? And did that impact how you allow your husband to love you?
I can go first. So growing up, my parents were together from before I was born until I want to say I was 21, and then they got a divorce. But just in that time frame, I did watch them, as far as like how their relationship was, and I love that, and that's what I wanted. But then it was like towards the end, I guess like once they got a divorce and stuff, I was just like, was that real? But then at the same time, I'm thinking like when I get into a relationship, I want to be better than them, I guess. But I did in the beginning try to go off of how I saw my parents, together.
Okay. Rich, did you have an example of love to go off of, or were you winging it?
So mine was like my upbringing was a little different setup because I know my pops, bro, is a different story. But my parents, so that the person that actually raised me that I look at as my father is actually a woman. My mom was with a woman since I was 6 months old.
Okay.
So that was the people that I looked up, and they loved each other my whole life. They did have their downfalls and backsteps, but I personally, most people use good, like the things that they say good to, I guess, shape the things that they do in life. I use the bad things to shape how I see stuff. Because it's like, if this will make y'all break up, separate, that's not what I'm going to do in a sense. Mm-hmm. So like we notice with a lot of couples, finances is a really huge issue in relationships. As soon as me and her met, we was like, yo, like if it's got to do with money, we ain't arguing about it because either we got it or we don't. Right. She knows all my accounts. I know all her accounts. Like she could take my credit cards. I could take her credit cards. And we just move ahead. And that was one of the biggest arguments I've seen in my parents' relationships, grandparents, aunts, uncles, were finances. So that's one of the things me and her know, like finances is off limits. Like we can care less. If we got $0 or $1 million, we riding it out to the wheels fall.
Period.
I feel you.
Let me ask you this. This is an everybody question. Who here thinks that they were raised on love?
Absolutely.
Who here feels that they were raised on survival?
I think I was more raised on survival.
I was definitely raised on survival.
I think I was raised on love.
Ooh, perfect dynamic. So I asked you that question because, and I know we've all seen the meme floating around, a person raised on love can't be with a person raised on survival, or don't see the world the same as a person raised on survival. So the ladies in the room feel that they were raised on love, and the men in the room feel that they were raised on survival. How do you love your partner with that difference? And do you think that impacts your relationship?
I don't think that it impacts us because communication is key. We learned what our love languages are, and we were able to communicate to one another what we need from one another. So even though that may not necessarily be my way, I'm willing to do it to make sure you know I love you, because it's nothing for me to show you, how you want to be shown. It's not hard.
Right.
It's not hard at all, because he's more of like a touchy-feely, like cuddle, hug kind of love language person, and I'm more like words
of affirmation. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. What about you guys?
So she is definitely a touchy person. I am a gift person. I love gifts. Like that's just my thing. Like when she do certain stuff, like prime example, Christmas. Like I grind for my family. She the next day, like I woke up, made sure they was happy. She handed me an envelope with like a stack in it and was like, "Go get you a new car. Like your car is a piece of shit." So like it was immense because I didn't know she was gonna do it. Like, and she's a crappy gift giver. Like, so for her to actually take out the time to make that happen for me, like, I enjoyed it. And on the concept of survival, I teach her if I was to get hit by a car and I'm not here tomorrow, I need her to be able to take care of herself and my sons and never need nobody. So anything I know, she knows. And that's just how it is.
Let me ask you this. For the gentlemen, you both felt like you were brought up on survival. Was it hard for you to be vulnerable in this relationship? And if so, what opened you up? What you smiling about? I feel like you gave her some hell. Tell me something.
So I'm still learning to open up. Like even 9 years later, I'm still learning it.
So it takes some time. Got it.
It takes some time. Like I consider myself like I'm big ape. Like ain't nothing gonna hurt me. I ain't gonna cry about nothing. If I'm gonna fight my feelings and just go hard every day to get past whatever's bothering me.
Kia, how do you handle that?
Sometimes it's hard because I try to, get him to open up to me or like, it's okay to cry. Like, and he always got to put his tough guy, you just got to always be like that. And sometimes it's a little hard because I just, I want him to, I feel like, I'm his wife. So, you can be able to talk to me about anything or, show your feelings, and sometimes he's just not like that.
So let me ask you this. As a married man, you've been with this woman for the last 8 or 9 years. Where is that barrier coming from? Is that a me thing? Like, is that just something that you just know? Like, that's your reality?
It goes back to how you were raised and how you grew up, in a sense. Me personally, I hate being vulnerable. Like, I can take a punch all day and all night long, but you hurt my feelings, I'm gonna want to kill. Period. Like, I hate that shit. So, like, that like, anybody that personally knows me, like, your feelings being hurt is a way worse pain than actually physical pain to me. So in a sense, I'd rather just back up and be like, hey, if my feelings ain't hurt, I'm straight. Like, we can box all day long, but don't hurt my feelings. I'm gonna hit you with a car.
It's sensitivity. Really, that's what it is. Like, that's your soft spot. Your vulnerability is your soft spot.
Yeah.
You don't want to admit that you got a soft spot? I don't care.
I'm take that to the grave. Like,
I think he does when it comes to our kids. I feel like he has a soft spot for them, which is, it should be that way.
Of course. Then baby's bringing up out of you. Doug, how do you feel like you allow vulnerability to exist between you and Brittany's relationship based on your upbringing?
Well, I internalized a lot. Like, that was my problem in the beginning of our relationship. I kept a lot to myself. Like, she can do something that didn't sit well with me, but it's whatever. I'm gonna move past it. But really, I wasn't moving past it. I was just, keeping that shit inside, because I did that a lot growing up. Being the youngest of 3 and 2 older sisters, like, I'm the only male in the house. So I did a lot by myself. So having that somebody there with me, but I can't always talk to, because I don't know, I just felt like I couldn't, because I'm not used to that, because we didn't talk about much growing up. Everything that happened in the house stayed in the house, type of thing. So trying to learn to get past that and talk to her more. Like, how can she know what to fix if I'm not telling her? You know what I mean? If I'm not expressing my feelings towards her as to how she makes me feel, both positively and negatively. How can she better herself as trying to, be the best wife she can be for me if I'm not expressing what I can as a husband? So.
See, and with what sometimes what we don't see happening when we in the relationship is our boundaries and everything being stretched. because you love somebody and you know, like, I'm not vulnerable. I have this wall up. I don't do X, Y, and Z. This is not, I don't do that. I never did that before. I never felt that before. But then you encounter somebody that you love and you just want to stretch yourself for them and you want to try and you want to, you know, at least put forth the effort so they can, you know, see like, okay, at least he's trying to change, at least she's trying to change, and she's trying to implement some different things. And with that stretching, you said something that kind of sparked my ears here. You talked about, you know, she would do things that you didn't like, or, you know, that you had an issue with, and you would internalize it or just let it go. Which eventually we know never goes away. Yeah. When you internalize, resentment builds up. So I think to combat that, the best thing is forgiveness. How have you learned the lesson of forgiveness in your relationship?
By being able to have those uncomfortable conversations.
Okay.
They're really healing.
You took a really big, deep breath, Brittany. What's going on?
Because I was trying to think exactly, like, because one of the things I feel like helped me the most was when we went to therapy, actually.
Thank you for bringing that up, segue.
Yes. I thought that was really helpful. It helped us learn how to communicate better. It taught us how to have those difficult conversations and how to let one another express what we're feeling without cutting each other off or yelling or, you know, anything of that nature. And that really helped the healing process, I feel like, a lot.
Okay.
A lot. And we still have those conversations. And it helps. And time.
Mm-hmm.
Time and consistency.
Have you guys had any experiences with therapy or just practicing, you know, forgiveness in general? How has that impacted your relationship?
We have went to therapy before when we were just, you know, engaged, and I feel like it works. What about you?
That 100%. Like, I'm a talker. She's not. But when it comes to my talking, like, I like to analyze it, step away for a minute, and then come back to the conversation, because if you have that conversation, usually when y'all are angry or mad, like, it can blow up into something else. Versus taking those maybe an hour, 2 hours, and either going, she don't like to do it, like talk to friends, family about certain things, because some people are envious of, you know, what you got going on. Absolutely. But we do have those people on our side where I know it's genuine love. And you can go have that conversation and be like, you know, hey, bro, was I wrong for this? And just seeing it from a different point of view. And then once you go back and talk to your wife or your significant other, you can have a total different conversation than you would have had in the initial instance of the problem that occurred.
You're actually one of my people I call. Actually.
Girl, why you not a damn man? No.
Girl, nah, you know, sometimes I'm like, bitch, talk to me.
Yeah.
Am I tripping?
No, and we need that. And that's why I brought up therapy, because I was having a conversation with a friend of mine after last week's episode about setting boundaries and things like that. And we got into a conversation of relationships. And I'm to the point now, like, if I'm going to be serious with someone, we have to go to therapy. That's actually a requirement for me. If you're trying to be in my life, we got to go to therapy, because I think that, you know, aside from everybody's, you know, personal journey that they've experienced through life, personal relationships, and the relationship that you might be entering, we all have some type of backed up trauma that we might not even realize is in us, that we might not even be able to recognize as trauma, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
So then you get into a relationship and you bring that shit with you, and now you got this other person helping you unpack this bag, you know what I'm saying? And you pulling out shit that you never even seen before, like, oh damn, I didn't even know that was a problem.
Right.
Yeah, I'm a huge advocate for everybody going to therapy. You know, at some point, even if it's just you by yourself, because everybody has some type of trauma that they have to get over, or just as Black people in general, we inherit trauma. So like we all have trauma. So to get there and be able to talk it out with somebody that's trained to, you know, help you break down those thoughts and to move past certain stuff, you know, I think we should all take that journey at some point.
I think, like, with us as Black people, like, we got this concept built up when we grow up of what stays in this house, what happens in this house stays in this house. That concept, like, kind of, like, that shit in my crib don't ride. Like, I don't care. If some fucked up shit is going on, let it be known.
Yeah.
Now, if it's something like we just doing this, we joking, playing, cool, that's what we do. But things go bad all the time, and if you gotta say it, say it. So I definitely teach my 3 and 5-year-old, you say something wrong, say it. Y'all got opinions. Y'all kids, tell me your opinion. I respect it because you're my child. I know what I was at that age or what I thought was wrong. So I hate the concept of what happens in this house stays in this house. Like, it's so asinine to me.
It is. And you know what?
It
takes a village. And a lot of times when people, it takes a village to raise a child, not just raise a child, shit, it takes a village to raise you. You know what I'm saying? It takes a village to build something strong and beautiful. It's not just something that 2 people can do alone. So how do you both as couples decide who that's going to be? Who's in your village? Because like you said, I think Rich, you said it, you can't talk to everybody about your relationship. You can't tell your family everything. Some people are going to be envious of you. And there are a lot of wolf in sheep's clothes out here who will give you, oh, sis, you need to do this and he that and da-da-da-da. But them intentions don't always be in the right space. So how have you two decided individually, because everybody has their person or their people that they go to when you done piss me off and I need to calm down or you need to see if I'm wrong, like Brittany said. And as a couple, as a unit, how do you decide who is in your village?
For me personally, it's people that's been there since the beginning of our relationship.
Yes.
People that haven't wavered throughout all the issues. Like that hasn't, you know, talked bad and tried to take it back after things got good. It's like, you know, people that tried to make sure y'all were good through the situation. Those people,
and
who I count on.
If we have gotten rid of anybody, we've decided together, like, okay, this motherfucker ain't for us, so it's time to cut them off. So,
what about you guys?
I think it's the same for us too. Like, if you riding with us, you riding with us. Like, being a weirdo, like going behind our back or telling the other person, "No, you don't need to be with them." Like, hey, I don't trust you.
Yeah.
Right.
Generally, even like on my personal side, I think not disrespecting the person, your significant other, no matter what you telling that person, like, I think goes a long way. Like, oh, fuck, if it's generally like, hey, figure it out, or this is what I would do, or I truly believe this is where you were wrong at, that you're telling me I'm wrong goes a long way.
Yeah, because that's real love. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's coming from a partner or not, somebody that could be like, I don't know, bro, you was kind of out of order.
Right.
You know?
And it's beautiful to have that balance. You know, to be black and have balance.
Period. That was a long time. I love y'all. I like that. Anyway. Okay. So we've established our village. Let me ask you this. Have there been breakups between these 9 and 10 years? How have we handled those breakups and makeups?
Man.
She said, when did we break up, nigga?
Okay, I remember this story. Like, this story is... So it's abusive, but not abusive. Me and her got into it over something. I can't really remember what it was. That's how minuscule it was. She muffed me.
Why do I know you don't be the one?
And she took off running, and I literally...
You gotta hit him and run. I feel you.
I chased her down like Highland. It was like I took my keys from her. It was like, hey, you got to get out. She moved into my crib at that time. And it was like, we was broke up for like 3 days. So, and then we kind of was like, hey, so what happened? Again, I don't remember what happened. So it was minuscule and it was a waste of a fight in a sense. But outside of that, no.
In y'all defense though, when you young, that shit seeming important as a motherfucker. Like, especially in the moment, it do. Because we'll talk about some of our situations like that, and we will laugh so hard now, like, ooh, like it was not that serious, and it's so dramatic.
It's funny now,
right?
Right.
Because we had a similar moment to that too. That's why I was laughing, saying sometimes you gotta hit him and run. The very first fight, I don't remember exactly what we was fighting about, but I just remember thinking when he was yelling at me to hurry up and hit him in his shit before he hit me, because I had just seen him beat his father ass, and I was like, "Oh, you ain't finna do me like you did your daddy, because you whooped his ass." So I'm gonna hurry up and get this first hit real quick, so at least I know I got one. Right. Shit. So, never would do that now, but I felt it then. I felt that then.
Now
like,
you know,
hurry up, hit this nigga and run real quick. At least I tried to run. It was it was sad too. He chased me down as well. Right. Right.
So let me ask you guys this. You guys were both very young when you found each other, when you got together. Did you have any, experiences from prior relationships that kind of made you leery or impacted you in any way for this relationship?
Mm-hmm. Sure did.
I'm going to say the one before him, I learned a lot from it, and what I guess what I would not take in my next relationship as far as what a guy does to me, and also what I would do different as a girlfriend or whatever. It made me a better person, and I think
your skin is glowing. I just have to say that you have some lovely skin.
Right.
Like I'm just sitting here like,
better come on, fresh face.
Right.
Yes, ma'am. So Kia, what was that biggest takeaway that you took away from your previous relationship and you knew that you wanted to make different in this one?
I guess just to not nag as much, I guess. To be open and be a little bit more submissive.
Okay. Rich, what about you? Anything from a previous relationship that you
I guess like follow my gut feeling, because my last relationship before her, like she cheated on me. Like I went to her crib and nigga answered her door. I was like, "Yep, I'm out." So
wow, this was bold.
Like, she told me I work too much. So,
right.
Like I guess given time, because she was like, the last chick was like, I work too much. And I still work a lot, but now it's more or less I'm one of them firm believers and fuck that job. So if I want to stay home and we gonna kick it and have a play hooky day, let's ride. I'd rather do that than spend a bunch of time with people that can care less about me.
Right.
What about you guys? Brittany, I know that you had some ups and downs prior to this relationship with Doug. So what was that like coming into this relationship and trying to make it healthy versus leaving those unhealthy, whether it be practices or learned behaviors in the past?
One of them we actually still kind of deal with to this day. The guy he stole me from. One negative thing I took away from that relationship is I started to check phones. I had never did that before him, and it became a habit while I was dating him. So one of the issues that we had throughout the relationship, and that I still have to be mindful of, and like, bitch, no, don't do that. Is that. Because I don't know what ever even started me doing that with him, but one day, you always find
what you're looking
for when you go searching.
How do you stop? I check phones too. I don't want to be like this.
It takes willpower, and sometimes that's why I say sometimes it's still an issue, because sometimes you still gonna get weak from time to time. Like it just happens. And sometimes when you've gone through stuff, it don't even necessarily have to be something that he's done to make you feel like, let me just check. Sometimes you feel like, let me just make sure what he's saying is really what it is. And he hasn't even done nothing to make you think otherwise. You just doing it just because type of thing. Like, it just takes a lot of talking to a willpower. I already talk to myself a lot, but but when I get them type of urges, I really get to talking to myself. It's like, no, you don't want to do this. You got to think about like the outcome and like the repercussions afterwards, because especially if he's doing what he's supposed to do, that makes him feel, discouraged. Like, damn, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do, and you still, still not trusting me. You still not trying to trust me. Like, that's a part of trying to, trust and learning to trust again. Like, you gotta really, it takes a lot, but you gotta really, like, really just understand how important it is.
You said something key. You said that sometimes he's not even doing anything to make you feel the need to look at his phone, and it's just something that,
because you just developed this habit.
But I want to point out how real relationship PTSD is.
It is.
Because that's what that is. That's another episode. Don't nobody take my subject if you're watching that.
Don't take
my
that shit.
But we gonna talk about relationship PTSD because that is such a thing. And that's kind of why I asked about, how the past impacts his current relationship. Because as we do these things, as we grow, as we, experience different things, some stuff sticks with us and we don't realize how stuck it is. Like it's up there and it's stuck there in real life.
Glue, adhesive spray.
Yes, it's Gorilla Glue. Your ass. And now you don't know how to unsee it. So, and that is something that is so under talked about. A relationship PTSD, like you experience something or you even see something. There's certain things that I've never been through in a relationship, but in my previous relationships, I've seen it or seen something that looks familiar, and I'm like, oh, like I see where this is going. I see how this has gone before. So you kind of have to reel yourself back in and remind yourself that you trust your partner.
Right.
So how do you what is that thought process like in conversation with self when you have to remind yourself, I trust my partner?
I just have to remind myself that he has been consistent for a few years now at that. Like, it's not like he just got consistent for a couple months. He's been consistent for a few years now, like before we even got married. So I just have to keep reminding myself, he's been consistent, trust his consistency, because all in all, that's all you can really ask for is consistency. There's nothing greater than that. So I just have to keep reminding myself of that. That consistency, that's it.
Dougie, how do you feel through your hurdles in the relationship you have contributed to the rebuilding of trust? And do you see that as a two-way street for both partners, regardless of who was the one that, caused the mistrust? Like, how do you see that bridge come together?
Well, it's through the communication. For her being able to, correct me when I'm doing something wrong, or for me to be able to correct her, and for us to be able, okay, I see what I'm doing wrong. Okay, I'm gonna do that better. Or even sometimes I understand, like, okay, I've been working a lot, so I've been a lot more tired, so I haven't been helping out. Let me make sure I start helping out more. So it's not even that. It's not even a conversation to be had. It's just me understanding where I've been slacking at and just getting back to it, so that she can be able to come back to me and be like, hey, you fell off for a little bit. I saw that, and I appreciate you picking it back up. Or even for me to be able to tell her that, like, hey, you haven't been giving me my time, and I appreciate you for letting me have that. So,
so I like that. So instead of highlighting the problem, highlighting like, hey, I seen that you was struggling on this end, but now I appreciate the fact that you've improved. Yeah. And highlighting the improvement instead. I really like that.
We definitely try to bring that up for sure, because I will tell you when you're doing wrong real quick. So I need you to know when you're doing good too. I need you to know this. Because if I keep it to myself, you don't know.
Right.
And always saying what you're doing wrong is discouraging.
As hell.
Like, I've learned that as a leader in my world at work. So it's like, in order for me to be a leader of a household, I have to be able to, enact those same skills. I have a really particular skill set. So in order for me to use that skill set at home and make my home a better place, I might as well be able to use what I've been taught.
Beautiful. Kia, as you said that in your previous relationship, you learned to stop nagging as much. How have you implemented that lesson in this relationship? And what happens when you catch yourself? Like, I'm being a little naggy.
Sometimes I find myself still doing it, but I try to catch myself before I do it, because I feel like if I'm doing that, it'll kind of, I don't know, like make him discouraged, I guess, if I'm just nagging about what he's not doing or what I need to be done or something. So I just try to catch myself now, like as I feel it coming on,
So how have you changed your communication methods so it's not received as nagging, but more so as maybe like notifying or, pointing out an issue without it sounding bitchy?
I've learned to, and I still try to get him to do it, but like if I feel like something is bothering me, I try to sit down and just kind of talk to him about it. Like, I guess just say what's on my mind, because if you don't, it's going to come out as nagging, and I don't want it to seem that way. So I think he's a little bit more understanding when I say, hey, can we just talk about, a certain situation.
Ooh, I hate that.
What?
We need to talk.
We need to talk.
I hate that so much.
What would you
do? A bad talk,
Just throw it on me. Like, don't send me the text at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Like, nigga, we need to talk when you get home at 5:30.
But look, even if I say it's nothing bad, he still be having such anxiety.
Yeah, don't do that.
I feel like that's a bad
That is all right.
I don't really have anxiety from the we need to talk conversation because I'm just sitting there like, I ain't did shit.
Even though I know,
What?
And I normally laugh. Like, have you done something? Right? Like, is there something else we need to talk about? Like, what's the problem?
Rich, how do you receive the constructive criticism in your relationship differently now versus receiving it as nagging? Like, what has changed about the way that you hear it coming out of her mouth? And do you recognize her efforts in trying to not be naggy versus just illuminating the problem?
So yeah, it's like growth is a huge thing. You got to grow with it. When you first hear it, it's like, damn, she always on my back. I don't want to hear this shit. But now it's just kind of like, all right, I get it. We both work hard. We both grind. I can do better. Or even in the sense of, again, I'm not a very intimate, touchy dude. Like, I really don't like all that touching. But now I've told myself that was one of my year's goals, was to be more intimate with her, was to touch her more, was to show affection to her more and shit. Because I know she enjoys it. I may not, no matter how much cringy it is to me, it's not on me to make her know that I care for her, I love her, I appreciate her. Mm-hmm. So trying to take those small little steps to, again, receive it the correct way instead of like brushing it off as just another issue.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you this. How did you recognize her love language, or did she communicate that to you? Or is that something that you just kind of figured out over the years?
It was a combination of her constantly saying it to me, saying it to others, and others bringing it to me, and just me paying attention to it. Like, it was just like, all right, damn, I know, because she brings it up any chance she gets. So it's just like, all right, I have to do this because she enjoys it. Not for my enjoyment, it is solely for her. So it's not going to kill me to allow her to lay on me, to lay on her for a second, and not let it be sexual and just be a small, intimate, here's a peck on the cheek or here's a slap on the butt. I appreciate you. You look nice today. So those small gestures go a long way for her.
Yes. Kia, since Rich is a little bit younger than you, did you ever feel like you had to like teach him or, coach him into being the type of man that you needed him to be?
I feel like, yeah. Like I'm still trying to make him like how I want him to be.
My mom says you gotta mold all of them. You find your favorite one.
But I'm not trying to just, like I said, nag him and, make him do it. It's just, I want him to want to do it. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that desire to please your partner and to just be their safe haven is so huge, because when you want to do those things and when you want to make someone comfortable and you want them to know like, hey, I love you and I'm here and I'm not only do I love you, but I am accessible to you. You know what I mean? In more than one way. Not just, we sleep in the bed together every night. We talk about money. We talk about these kids. But I'm accessible to you emotionally. I'm accessible to you mentally. I am accessible to you, in a vulnerable way. You got to really open yourself up and be willing to stretch. And sometimes that don't feel good to be like, hey, I'm accessible. God damn it. Like I'm here, I'm accessible, I'm scared, but I'm accessible. But I think that's definitely a key, because if your partner feels like they can't get you to see things from their eyes, then it's not really a compromise. It's not really balanced at all. Yeah. So marriage, a year of marriage, 2 years of marriage, almost 10 years together for the both of you. I can presume that there's been some forgiveness and some anger. How does one control their tongue? Because I'm gonna tell you, I got a serious mouth on me when I'm angry. So learn me something. Learn me something on today. Go ahead. Like you should go first.
Ooh, girl, I'm still learning. Jesus. You see me at work.
Yes. Yes.
It's a little similar, if not worse. It's just really, even though I'm still learning, I've always wanted to show him a level of respect that I've never shown another man. So I try. It don't always work, but I try to remind myself of that when I'm talking to him. And sometimes it gets hard because he likes to poke and provoke sometimes. And I'm like, dog, leave me alone, because I'm trying to be respectful and I'm trying to rein it in. And you just give me a few minutes. But I try to just remind myself of that. Mm-hmm. And I really, especially once we got married, I'm like, I really want to give you a different level of respect when it comes to that. Because before I didn't give a damn. I'm going to say what I want to say. I'm going to say it how I want to say it. And if you don't like it, kiss my ass, basically, because I don't care. He's the first man I've ever been like, okay, I'm really trying to watch my mouth. Can you work with me here?
Yeah.
No, I love you that much. I really am trying. Seriously. So,
do you apologize often in your marriage?
I think we both do. I think he got a habit of doing it when he don't even have to. And I'm like, awkward. This is not something for you to apologize for. It's fine. And then there was something for me that I had to learn, because in my family, we don't apologize. They might do something nice, but the actual words, I'm sorry, I apologize, never really comes out too often. They're just getting to a point of starting to be a little more consistent with that. So I had to really learn to just really say it and mean it. Because in the beginning, I would say it just to say it. I ain't gonna lie. It was like, let me just say this and that'll dead that. But now I actually say it and mean it.
Mm-hmm. So. What about you guys? Apologies.
I apologize. Rich is more, he'll do a nice gesture, like go buy flowers or something nice that I like or something like that.
I can't say to buy flowers.
I like both.
I just started buying flowers just off the strength lately. I go to grocery.
The reason are always the best flowers.
So I enjoy grocery shopping by myself on Sunday mornings. So as soon as I go in there, you walk past the flowers, so I automatically pick a flower up. But when she's right, because I say some shit, so it's super out of order. But then they'll be like, damn, I was wrong. So I make sure she knows, all right, I was wrong. But I'm trying to get used to saying, still not going to say, I'm sorry, I'm a solid, my bad person. My bad.
Why though? What's wrong with I'm sorry or I apologize? Why is that so?
So for me, it's because it's not me. That's not how I talk. If I generally even take out the time to tell you my bad, I mean that shit. And I think even when it comes to even saying certain things, if you won't say it to your less melanated boss or another less melanated person out there, don't say that shit to me.
Period.
So,
Period. I understand.
Yeah.
Okay. Very interesting perspectives on forgiveness and apology. But I appreciate the fact that you're able to recognize, like, okay, I said something a little messed up. How do you deal with, after hearing that, whatever that word is or statement is that pissed you off, or that you feel like you have to apologize for, or that he has maybe, my bad about, how do you handle hearing that again in the back of your head? Because, like, I'm the type of person, I hate to argue. Personally, I do not like to argue. I don't want to argue with nobody. I feel like arguments are a waste of time. If we can't find the solution, like, if we need to argue and yell at each other, let's do that. But at the end of this shit, we better have an answer, because I don't want to just be arguing just for the hell of it.
Right.
But I know my tongue. Once I say something out of my mouth, especially to the people I love, I hear that often. And I'll be like, damn, I shouldn't have said that. Or I hear what people say to me and be like, you know what? I forgive you, but that shit was still out of order and I'm still hurt. So how do you turn that voice off in the back of your head that's like, no, nigga, you said da 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 da, and now you sorry, and
I think it's better for me to just walk away from it, because I don't want to, make matters more than what it is, I guess. So I just try to just walk away and then just try to, bring myself down.
Picking your battle.
More than what
yeah. I think it's the same for me. Like, I'd be like, oh well, shit happens. And move on.
So some things you just have to be like, okay, we're dismissing because it's not important enough to go around about.
Basically.
Understood. What about you guys? If somebody else drink this, hell, I'm drinking like a fish.
I think it all depends.
I gotta get another glass.
Please.
I sometimes, like, we'll do the long drawn out, screaming match, but
But we have rules too.
Yeah.
Like, we won't do it around the kid.
Okay.
No that. She got to be asleep or in another room or something. And we actually try not to yell at each other.
Yeah. So
because that's a trigger for him.
Yeah, when I say long, drawn out screaming match, it's just really us talking slightly louder to each other until we finish and we come to some
or
type
giving
of common
each other
ground.
the silent treatment.
Yeah, until we come to some type of common ground. Like, okay, here's the problem. Here's what you think the solution is. Here's what I think the solution is. How do we get to that middle point?
Mm-hmm. So. You said something that made me curious. You said that the yelling triggers him. How do you identify and abide by, more so respect your partner's triggers? Like, have you been able to identify what they are?
He, it's a trigger for him because of his childhood, because his parents, were screaming and yelling and fighting a lot. And for him to explain that to me, and then for me to meet both of his parents and see him and his dad fight and all that stuff, it made me deeply understand and be like, okay, I get it. And it's definitely important enough that I'm definitely willing to try. So sometimes if it does get a little too loud, we will say like, hey, let's bring it back down, or hey, we're cutting each other off, let's cut that out, or whatever. We're pretty good at interjecting that in now, but before, those were issues that would escalate the argument even further, and we had to figure out what that was, why that was, and make sure we don't bring it into the next argument.
De-escalation is key in any intense conversation. I don't want to always call them arguments. Sometimes it's just
a discussion,
really intense discussion as to what we both felt was wrong and how do we move past it. Because in order to have a relationship, you're gonna go through tough times no matter what. You're gonna have to have tough conversations and uncomfortable conversations. It's just how do you make it through them, and how do you grow from them? Because there's no point in having a conversation if it's not going anywhere.
Right.
Because she'll tell me all the time, this isn't going nowhere. We gotta stop talking about this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or if we go in circles, I hate circles.
Yeah.
So, if we can't come to a solution, then this conversation is really pointless. And now we're just mad at each other for no reason.
Yeah.
Because obviously we can't solve this, so there's no reason behind this argument.
And it's okay to take a break and go back to it later.
I was just gonna ask you that.
Yeah.
Do you have battle boundaries?
Sometimes he likes to keep hashing it out
Until
out
it's done.
Yes, and
me.
sometimes for me, I have to take a step back so I get my mouth in check to continue the conversation, because I want to keep having a respectful conversation, an adult conversation. So sometimes I have to tell him, like, hey, give me like 5-10 minutes, give me some time, and we're gonna come back to it. We ain't gonna just skip it, but just give me my time, bruh.
Yeah. Ooh,
Sometimes
like
when it goes in circles, that agitates me. So that alone it don't even have to be like super negative. Just the fact that it's going in a circle will aggravate me to the point of being disrespectful, because I just hate that. That's a pet peeve with anybody.
Yeah. What about you guys? Do you have battle boundaries?
Yeah, like I'm usually out. Like, I won't have an argument when I'm mad. Like, I won't have a conversation with her when I'm mad, because I already know, like, I might be disrespectful. So if I'm mad, I'll leave. And then later that day, night, or whatever, then we'll come back and have that conversation, because at that point, I've had that time to go through my head to see what happened, what went wrong to even bring us to that issue. And at least for me, that's how it works.
Yeah.
What about
sometimes, like he said, we don't want to do it while we mad. Sometimes I do, because I just feel like if we just talk about it right away, then maybe we can come to a solution. But I guess it just depends on what it is, and if we need to take a breather before we talk about it first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's important. Sometimes that space and just like, okay, let me take myself outside of the situation, put myself in my partner's shoes, analyze what I'm talking about or why I'm mad. Sometimes what you're really mad at is probably not the situation at hand. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's some stuff that's done built up, or something that you let slide so many times. Now I'm pissed off. Like it's these, but these are the little things. These are the little things that turn into a big thing. So I like that you said you take your time to step back from the situation and figure out why you're mad. I think that identifying the trigger is such an important piece, because while you might be mad at one thing and he might be mad at something else, now we just arguing. We haven't even really identified if we mad at the same shit. We don't know. I just know I don't like how you just talked to me, and you don't like how I just talked to you, and now I'm gonna go. So I think that being able to step outside of that, you got to give yourself that grace. Right. You have to give yourself that grace and that time to calm yourself down, because this is still a person that you love deeply, and you don't want them to be like, nah, you crossed the line that one time, and now I got to move different with you, because I don't know if you're going to cross that line again. Yeah. So I respect that. I appreciate that. Something that has come up in both of your conversations regarding arguments and regarding, how you handle anger has been childhood, and that you both don't argue in front of your children. Let me ask you this. Do you two have the same parenting style?
No. Our parenting style is totally different, 100%.
How many kids do you have?
We got 2 boys, a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old.
Fun. Why is nobody smiling?
Parenting life is real, boy. I feel you. Y'all got 2. Ooh.
Right. Damn, baby.
Listen. Because I was so thinking like, oh, my baby naughty.
It's rough having like 2 toddlers at the same time.
Baby.
At the same time.
So what differs in your parenting style? Like, what's different about the way you parent the kids and about the way you parent the kids?
I'm soft until I got to discipline. I listen to the kids. I talk to them softly. I get down to their level. I have simple conversations. I try not to yell at them. I try not to scold them. Nothing like that until I have to discipline because they did some off the wall shit, especially the second one. I have no idea what's wrong with him. Love him to death, but he wild too. On her end, she's more of the hard ass, firm, going hard, 24/7. I'd be like, chill out. Shit happens. So like we clash on that a lot of times, just because I'd be like, shit happens. Like if something get broken, we'll buy something new. I don't care. She'll lose her whole shit over it. So
what it is.
I guess like that different style goes really hard to come together on a lot of stuff. Unless they do something, she on their ass. I'm gonna back her up most of the time in front of them and be like, "Hey, get your shit together."
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Hey,
What about you two? Do you guys have the same parenting style?
I feel like we do, because way before even having Bella, we always sat down and talked about how we wanted to parent our children. That was something that we talked about from the very beginning. But I think that I'm just a little bit more intense or aggressive, so to speak. And that's probably the only real difference, because he backs me up, I back him up. We pretty much, like, we always said we never really wanted to spank or anything. We always wanted to, like, try to talk things out first, wait it out at least before we just go straight to just spanking or try a timeout, or, you know what I'm saying, other alternatives. Definitely no yelling, of course. Like, these are things that we always talked about from just the very beginning. So it was really natural once we had her to just kind of flow into those things.
And Baby Bells was planned, so
Yes,
she was the love child. Mama's
kind of
planned.
She was planned.
She was planned at first, and then she didn't come when I wanted her to. I lost my patience, so I started planning the wedding. I had gotten a travel agent because we were getting married in Jamaica for 420, and I was completely focused on that, and then poof, pregnant. Like,
yeah,
damn it. You were supposed to get conceived in Jamaica.
We found out 2 days after my birthday party.
Yes.
Oh, damn.
Yes.
So she's a survivor, because I'm sure she was experiencing some Patron.
Girl, we drank so much that day.
Yeah.
Well, actually, so because I was playing hostess, actually, I didn't get to drink as much as I would have liked. Like, I kept getting a couple sips and I'd put my drink down, make somebody a plate or something, and forget where it was or something like that. So I really didn't actually get to drink that much, but I sure as hell smoked a lot. I
don't feel like that's don't ask me shit. I ain't got no kids. Never mind.
Smoking weed, actually, while pregnant, at least according to the doctor that I went to, they actually say it's okay.
Yeah,
but you can't use tobacco products, and
right.
That's the thing. I'm sure somebody rolled with tobacco products for sure,
okay,
because it was just that big of a mixed crowd.
Yeah.
So
yeah, how have the kids changed their relationship with each other? You guys have older children. Would you say 5 and 3?
Yeah.
So you've been in the parenting game for a little while longer.
Yeah.
How did that change your relationship?
I feel like it brought us closer. It made him a little softer than he is, I guess. Because I don't know, he's a tough guy. So just to see him with the kids, it made me have a different, like, respect for him, I guess.
Did you always be parents?
No, I didn't want kids. I pointed, like, told her at the top. I'm like, I don't want kids.
2.
Right. What? There ain't 2 accidents.
Right.
Things happened, and
Show you none.
I only wanted 2 kids, so I got what I wanted.
She got what she wanted. No more now. Like, we out the game.
This man, when I met him, he wanted 5.
5?
I found out too many.
Like 5 kids rolled into one.
No, y'all gotta give my baby a sibling. She can't be in these streets by
No, she gonna have a sibling for sure, because she needs somebody else to play with. She be wearing me out.
She wearing me out too.
But I think, like, having a kid, it brought us closer eventually, but I want to say at first, the first couple months to a year, it was a little rocky. I think that was the most we had probably ever argued like that consistent in our entire relationship. Even when we was having, like, fidelity issues and all that, we didn't argue that much.
So what made it such a tough period?
It really just came down to finances.
That, and I think that also it was just the 2 of us for so long. He was used to having all my time, all my attention. I had enough energy to clean up the house, have sex, whatever, go out. You know what I mean? Like, it was a completely different dynamic. And then here comes this little human that requires so much of my time, so much of my love and attention, and learning how to adjust and give him what he needs, give her what she needs, and the dog, because she thinks she my baby too.
Yeah.
So
MJ is your child.
Yes. So just learning how to balance that and still find time for myself too. That was really hard. Like, it took a while to find that balance, but once I became very vocal about how I was feeling and stuff, he was very supportive, and we were like trying to figure out, okay, how can I get my time and still, you know, make time for the rest of y'all. It took a while, but we are always, you know, dedicated to finding a solution too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And now she has her own podcast.
Period. Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Got
Self-time.
one avenue now. It's been, having that has helped so much.
Yeah.
Seriously. Like, they can even tell at work, like, if I haven't recorded or something, they like, oh, did y'all record Friday? You all right? Like, what's up?
Yes.
You've been so much happier. So it's been a blessing.
That's beautiful. Kia, you're the only woman in a house full of men's.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get self-time? And Rich, how do you contribute to mommy's self-time? How do you help that happen?
So for me, I'm one of them people, like, I tell her all the time, if you want to leave, bye. Like, I'm not about to tell you to take the kid. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, get out.
Yeah, he's always trying to get me out the door to do something.
That constantly telling her, like, do something for yourself is not about to make a difference. Like, if you want to enjoy going to sit at Starbucks for hours for yourself, or her wanting to do YouTube every now and then, I'm like, yo, like, kids will be out here. I make sure they ain't coming in your room. Like, we just got a new crib, so we pretty much in the transition of moving.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So pretty much we already got an office space picked out now. So we already like, yo, this is our office. When we in here, no kids, period. So we just set those boundaries of when I'm with the kids, they with me. So that gives her that time from me. Like I said, if she want to leave, pick up the keys and be like, I'll be back, I'm never tell her to take a kid. I'm always be like, they're my kids. I hate when people be like, oh, they daddy watching them. How the fuck am I watching my own kids? They're mine.
Right.
Yeah, only daddy.
You know, it's funny because he is really big on like, go ahead, go out with your girls, whatever, go have fun. And every time I go somewhere without Bella, they be like, where's Bella? She's with her daddy.
Right.
She has an active father. I ain't got to bring her with me.
You did know she has two parents, right?
This is for moi. This is my
Period.
time. Like,
Period.
every
Yes.
time.
I think that's so, like, I find that a little offensive. Like, when people see a mom out, where the baby? You ain't got the baby. I ain't got the
Hell
baby.
no.
Like, girl, this baby is not inside of me no more.
That's what I said. Fuck them kids is reserved for parents. Regular parents with them kids. Fuck them kids.
Right. Say that when you
Right. She has an active father.
Kia, when
Oh.
you're away from the house and away from the boys, do you have a hard time turning your mommy mode off, or are you still thinking, oh my gosh, did they eat? Did they da-da-da-da? Like, are you?
I'm definitely that way. Yes.
Yes? No, girl. We gotta get you the F take key.
No, I'm trying.
Enjoy.
Alright. I will text Doug real quick. What my baby doing? Did she eat? ASAP. But
Let me
now he'll
ask you
just send a
this.
picture.
If your wife wanted to go on a vacation by herself, a solo vacay, would you be down?
Hell yeah.
Like with-
Mom,
Send me that all the
like, I'll be here. Like, it gives me away from time from her. It, like, listen, love her to death, but we've been together damn near 10 years. Goodbye.
And you need
Right.
to that relationship needs some
A separation.
part.
I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I did it already. I forgot.
Yeah.
Yes.
See,
About to
You
go on another.
like when you come back, I'm gonna beat them cheeks to a wall. So this is what it is.
Get your rest while you're
Right,
gone too.
right.
So rest your cat.
this nose waiting on you when you get home.
Right. Like, you know what's going on when you get home. So nah, like because I take trips, like me and one of my best friends, every year we try to take a road trip that lasts about a week. So she allows me to do that. That's why I allow her to do anything. I always tell her, do whatever you want because you're a grown ass woman. I can't tell you what you can do. I can always give you a suggestion, but that's it.
Yeah.
Right.
I love that.
I try and
much
encourage
same
her
way.
to do more, like to go out and do more. Like last year, she went to Texas for her brother Donnie's birthday last year, and it's like she felt bad about leaving me and the kid. And it's like, well, I am a daddy. Like, yeah, I can do
They
this
had
too.
fun.
Right.
He was missing me more than Bella was.
Like,
She wasn't worried about you.
Right, at all. She had her cousins, some balloons. Child, she was set.
Yes. So let me ask you this. How do you feel like your parenting differs from the parenting you received? And do you think that is a difference in a better way or a more negative way? Do you think that there are things that you implement from the way you were raised in your upbringing into the way that you'd raise your children?
For me, I think I incorporate some stuff from my childhood, as far as how my parents parented us. But at the same time, I don't do a lot of stuff that they do. Like, we don't whoop our kids, and I got whoopings growing up. I'm not gonna say we don't whoop them at all, but like, if they did something like crazy, know.
And it's the second one. It's not really the first one. The second one makes you look at them strangely. I think for me, like I incorporate, like I think my parents instilled like a lot of manners in me, so that's definitely one of the things I do the same. Outside of that, I think I'm more affectionate with my kids, like especially by them being boys, and I know how like least affectionate I am. I try to be like a little bit more affectionate with them, so they know it's cool. They don't think it's soft. They don't think it's again, I don't want to use the word wrong, but like, a lot of people will say, boys, oh, you gay or something because you want to give somebody a hug, like, so I don't want to use that in an offensive way, but people do say it. And I hug my kids. I kiss my kids. Like I tell my son, like, dog, you handsome, you beautiful. Like, I want them to know these things.
That's good.
Yeah, like, not saying that my parents didn't do it, that my mom didn't do it, but I think I do it a little bit more than they done. And again, that concept of what happens in this house stays in this house. They didn't really do it, but it was kind of like one of those unspoken rules that you grew up with.
Yeah, totally feel that. What about you guys?
So for me, my mom's a big hugger.
So is.
Like, so that's what I have in me. Is just I'm a hugger. I'm affectionate. Like, I want to show you, like, this is how we say hi. This is how we say bye. Because you don't know when's the next last time you gonna see somebody. So to give somebody a hug is, for me, the most passionate thing you can do for somebody in any given moment. So that's what I do for Bella every time I see her. Is just I give her a hug and a kiss. Like, I smother her in kisses because I'm away from her between the 12 hours a day. So it's like, when I come home, I want you to know that Daddy missed you.
It's always so cute.
I can imagine. I love every time you post a picture of them. I'm just like, yes. I love to see little black girls getting loved on by their daddy. That is like my favorite thing. Black boys too. I love, because that's necessary. I love to see, affectionately and thoroughly, and being spoken life into. I think that is so important, and especially for children to be able to just be who they are. Right. I think that Black kids get robbed of their opportunity to be creative so early, and to be vulnerable and to just be kids. They literally that get snatched from our kids. So to see that and to hear you guys say, like, I tell my son he handsome and I love him, I kiss him. That is so important, because we can't raise no other generation of broken boys.
Yeah, right.
Broken women or men, like, we just can't keep letting that happen. So I'm proud of how our generation really takes the reins on making a difference in how we raise our kids and the things that we make important in upbringing our children. I have a homegirl. She got 2 boys too, and her kids meditate. Do you get to crying and acting the damn fool? She be like, you must go. You need meditation. I want you to go sit in the room and meditate and figure out what's wrong, and then when you come back, we can have a conversation about it.
I love that.
And then when the first time I'm like, damn, that's beautiful. Like, if somebody would
enough for that,
I
like that.
But that's so much better than like yelling them and get over there, get out of my face, because then it gives them an opportunity to really figure it out, and that's important. We need to teach them emotional control and emotional discovery.
Learn how to identify.
Yes, the problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
It took me a long time
to be able to identify what your emotions are.
Because I had a good childhood for the most part. My dad was absent, but I had a great childhood. My grandparents were really, really influential in me having such a great, childhood, in addition to my mom, of course. But one thing that I did lack was communication. I wasn't really allowed to say how I felt. And after a while, I would shut down and it would turn to anger. Mm-hmm. So that's partly why I wasn't so like lovey-dovey when I met him, why I was so like angry, like why I would, instead of crying for something sweet or important, I was crying just over maybe a TV show or something. But when something, emotional was going on, I'm angry and like I gotta be tough and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So one of the major things for me, once I realized I was going to have a kid, is to make sure that she always knows that no matter what, we can always have a conversation. It will never be a situation, for instance, like with me and my mom. One thing that always sticks out to me is one day she would tell me, you can always come to me when you're ready to have sex. You can come to me. We'll talk about it. Da, 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 da. And then the very next day, be like, bitch, I'll kill you if you ever. So it's like, I don't know.
Right.
I can't believe you. I don't know which one I'm going to get. I want her to know that little flip, that's not happening here. This is always a comfort zone. This is always something that we could talk about. Granted, she was raising me on her own. Who knows? What I'm saying? What all was going on there. But it scared me. I didn't think I could. Mm-hmm. I didn't think so. But I want my daughter to know you always have that place with me.
Yeah, that safe haven for your kid is so important. You two have boys. Y'all have little black boys. Have you guys discussed having the talk with them yet? The universal talk that has to happen with little black boys in this country. That's something that you're afraid of?
100%. Like, again, so even when it comes to emotional management, one thing I like implemented with my boys is we count to 10, take a deep breath, and then I make them stop either hyperventilating, crying, or whatever they're doing to actually express what the feeling that they're having is going on. Mm-hmm. And I don't think they're old enough right now to have that conversation of, at the end of the day, like I have it with like my younger cousins and everything. I hate to say it, but like they look at us, you a nigga. Like no matter how good your parents is, no matter how hard we work, no matter how hard your grandparents is. And what makes it worse is y'all spoiled niggas. Like you have everything given to you. Like, I hate reading some shit on Facebook where people will be like, oh, your parents did this, Blase Skippy for you. You mad because I had good parents? Like,
you said I had parents.
I apologize.
Like, my parents worked hard, so I was able to do this shit. So, and me and her had this conversation on a regular about, like, people are going to hate them just because they have a 2-parent household, parents that work, and damn near give them almost whatever they want.
It's gonna be grown people that don't like them because of that.
And to keep it 100, it won't even be just people outside of the community. It's gonna be people in the community that hate them for that too.
Yeah.
So we big gun enthusiasts too. So we've already know, like, once they hit that age of, I'm fully aware their understanding of, I need you to know the laws, because if you get jammed up because of something, I want to be able to have your back 100% because you didn't make a fucked up decision. Because at the end of the day, if you made a fucked up decision, not saying I ain't gonna have your back, but it's definitely gonna make me stand back and be like, yo, as a parent, I did what I was supposed to do. That was his sole decision. He fucked up. Mm-hmm. So we have to give them those tools. That's why it goes back to even manners or just social interaction. And learning that, like, you're a black man. You a nigga in their eyes. Like, you might be a black man, but you a nigga in their eyes. So no matter how well mannered you are, how groomed you are, they don't give a fuck. So that's why I wear my beard scruffy. I'm gonna wear my hair nappy. Because anyway I look, you don't care. You afraid of me. I'm a big black dude with tattoos. So just be on your shit, know your shit, be comfortable who you are is all I'm allowing them to learn right now until we have that conversation of protect yourself at all costs. If I know you was protecting yourself and whatever you did, I'm riding with you.
Mm-hmm. That's super important. I like that. I like how you put that, like it's putting it up front. Let me know what happens so I can ride for you, and letting them know like nothing is going to make me, step out on you. Like I'm always going to be behind you. That's super important for little black boys in particular, because I know I can name 20 men right now who have either run away from home or gotten themselves into situations that they felt like nobody was going to be in their corner, so they had to act in a way that made the shit worse. So I think that it's so important for them to know that they have that family backing, so they don't look for that other places. That's
goes back to like my mother when I said I was raised on survival. My mom, it wasn't that she didn't like show me love. She showed me love and affection, but her biggest thing was, if I die tomorrow, can you survive without me? Because I don't need you to depend on no fucking body. Right. And that's just how I need them to be, and that's how I want my wife to be, because I don't need to depend on shit but yourself. Because if you can't pick yourself up off the ground, how do you think somebody else is going to look at you at the end of the day?
Yeah. Facts. I respect that. So we are nearing the end of our episode. I have a couple of more questions for you guys, just to pull out some things about the actual marriage. How has your ideology of marriage changed from the time y'all got together to now that you're in a marriage and you're understanding the realness of marriage and what that means? How has that perceptive changed? Or has it changed?
So mine, it hasn't changed. The only thing that marriage did for me was make taxes look fucking amazing. Nothing gets changed.
It changed for me. I always felt like love was like a fairy tale and it was perfect, because I'm a reader, so I'm reading all these love stories in these books and I'm thinking that it's gonna be like that. And no, it's hard work. It takes communication, dedication, child, stuff that I never really took account for. So it definitely changed, but not necessarily a negative way. It just was like, oh, it's levels to this shit.
Yeah. Your perception has matured.
Yes.
Okay. What about you, Doug?
Yeah, because going into it, I just thought a husband was somebody that came home, went to work every day, took care of the bills, made sure the house was provided for. But there's a lot of other little nuances that go into being a husband. Making sure the wife is okay, making sure she's not overwhelmed, making sure I am, helping out with the child more, making sure I am helping out around the house. It's not just me going to work and coming home. It's like I still got more work to do when I get home. I got to make sure, I'm putting in the same effort at home as I am at work. So to continue to build and to make this work as a team instead of just one person pulling the other person.
Kia, what about you?
I agree with Brittany, because you watch movies, or you read about love and marriage and stuff, but it's nothing like how you you read or watch, or you gotta put into it. It is hard work.
Yes. Let me ask you guys this. If you could give a young couple one bit of advice about marriage or getting towards marriage, what would you tell them?
Make sure that it's 100% what you want to do, and you definitely have to have trust and communication.
Rich?
For me, it'll definitely be fuck others' opinions. Take as long as you need to get married. Because some people think I'm not a love at first type person. I don't believe in that shit. Shit weird to me. because it's like you don't truly know a person because, especially at young age that we met, because you barely know yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You get to know that person inside and out. We still learn new stuff about each other every day. So if you get engaged and it take you 4 years to get married, cool. But if you want to get married in 6 months, I see it so rarely working when people get married that soon. It's unreal. But when I see people take like 5-6 years to get married, them people be together forever. Like, nah, I'm riding with her. I know she hates this. I know he hates that. It's take your time, enjoy that person, hate that person, get to truly know who that person is.
Dougie?
I forgot the question.
If you could give a young couple one bit of advice about marriage or moving towards marriage, what would it be?
Being open to communication, because communication is, the key to any relationship. So being able to have those uncomfortable conversations, like always be able to work towards a solution. And go to therapy. No matter how good you think the relationship is, go to therapy, because you might be walking into a place that has so much baggage you don't even know. There's nowhere to sit because they have all this unpacked baggage, and now all of a sudden you got 17 years worth of baggage just coming down on you. It's like you don't know what you're really getting into. So make sure you're taking care of yourself and taking care of another by first taking care of yourself.
Sissy?
I'm gonna take a different approach from everybody. I'm gonna say make sure that you marry like your friend or your best friend, because we have that bond, that friendship. That's another thing that fuels my respect or my motivation behind wanting to be a great wife and mother and stuff like that, is that this is my best friend and I want to contribute to our union, because this is everything, to be able to be lovers and best friends. And also because we have fun, marrying your best friend, it's never a dull moment in our house. I'm either laughing at him or the baby. Like, that's the best thing you could ever do for yourself.
Okay, now I have another statement. So you guys will go ahead and finish the sentence. Turn to your partner. Everybody turn to your neighbor. And say, my favorite thing about being married to you is.
My favorite thing about being married to you is the adventures we go on every day. Every day is something different. Even if we don't leave the house, like we find ways to continue to have fun with each other, no matter what.
Probably something similar, or very similar to what I just said about us being best friends. How much fun we have. For instance, like the other day, we both had shitty days at work and just went home and started drinking and just laughing to try to laugh the bad day off. Like, the moments like that, I'll be like, that's why I'm married, dog. Like, we get each other.
Williams family.
So this might be wrong, but my favorite thing of being married to you is how we're able to communicate in our heads without saying something. Like when we was watching that movie the other day, and I called dog ugly, and you started laughing because you thought the same thing. We was literally watching a movie, and I just looked at the camera. I'm like, dog, ugly as fuck. And she just started dying like I was thinking the same thing.
My favorite thing is that about being married to you is that we can always go back to how we were in the beginning of our relationship. Like, we just when we first got together, we would always just get a lot of food and we watch movies and eat, and we always refer back to our beginning of our relationship.
The original Netflix and chill.
Yes.
Same here. I didn't even know what Netflix was until I met him.
Wow.
He put me on the Netflix and chill for real. That was our first date.
Netflix.
Back when you had to get the DVDs in the
That's
mail.
when he got the Dreagies. That's when he got the Dreagies for the first time.
Yeah.
On the first date. Yes. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me today. I'm so excited for this episode. I think, like I said, it's really important for our generation to see healthy marriages that come from our generation, and also to de-romanticize, if that's a word. I think I just made that up. But something that's just not so romanticized, because like you and Brittany were saying, Kia, I'm a hopeless romantic. So, but I grew up in a married household. So I kind of got to see, all angles of a marriage, and you realize that shit is not always rainbows and butterflies. It's not always pretty. It's not always fun. It's not always lovey-dovey. And I think that sometimes when people get into relationships and those rough patches come about, they be like, oh, hell no, I can't do this because I ain't happy and you ain't making me happy and this ain't how I want my marriage to go. But that's not, sometimes you just have to go through and grow through. That's really the only way.
It took me a long time to learn that too.
Yeah, that's a lifelong lesson. So I appreciate you all being open and vulnerable. You was vulnerable today, Rich, whether you like it or not. You was opening up to her.
We got you.
So thank you so much for coming on and for expressing this and for giving so much insight to so many people. I'm sure all of our viewers have appreciated it. The comments have been going ham. Yes. And you all have blessed me. Thank you. I appreciate it. Of course. Any and every time. And before we close out, this episode was sponsored by Softest Cotton Apparel. Compliments to the robe I'm wearing. So if you like this robe, you can go cop that at Softest Cotton Apparel. She is currently doing $10 off of your total purchase if you wish her happy Valentine's Day. So go to her Facebook and Instagram and wish her happy Valentine's Day to receive your discount. And we is over and out. One time for the Black Love.